Hey everybody, Ben here from TMC Films, and I'm back with another acrylic painting tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about creating fine details with acrylic paint and a very small brush. Now this brush is called a rigger. There's three different names for this brush: liner, rigger, and script, depending on the company you're buying from, as well as whatever they decide to name the brush. But the brush is all the same. It's a very thin, has a sort of nice script style point to it, and it's great for that fine detail work. Now you've seen me use this brush before if you've watched my videos, and it's a great brush to pick up. I definitely recommend it. And for this particular technique and this much fine detail, it really is required. Now when learning to paint, it's almost essential that you also learn to draw first. And that is because when doing a technique like this and working in fine detail, you need to know how to make those lines and to make the fine details you would with a pencil or a pen, and just translate that into using them with a brush. Now to start out, we're going to grab a little heavy body white, titanium white that is, paint, and throw that down onto a palette. And that's, for this particular demonstration, that's all I'm going to be using today, just to kind of give you guys the basic gist of what I'm talking about. Now what we're going to be going in here is what I've already done on this canvas is, this is upside down for me, but right side up for you. And what you're seeing is that there's sort of a texture to sort of these cloud structures, and I need to go into the edges and really make them refined and really make them pop, and make them look more like clouds more than just blobs of paint. So I'm going to divert some water that I have in a much larger basin into a smaller cup. Right there. And drop some paper, and dropped a piece of paper towel in my water. Now, in creating a consistent paint for this particular brush, you need to thin out the paint a bit. If you're using fluid acrylics or sort of a soft body paint, you probably don't need to do this either at all or anywhere near as much. So as you can see, it's just sort of getting it to a consistency that's not going to be transparent, but just enough to let it flow. And you want to slowly add the water, and you don't want to add it all at once to avoid sort of the bubbles or foam in the paint. So we'll come over here to the canvas. We'll just start on this one here, and I want to have my idea of my light source is going to be coming from behind the tree on the right. So I kind of want to get just a little bit on that edge. And the trick is to always know when to reapply your paint. With a pencil or a pen, it's always right there with you, and you don't have to worry about any kind of running out of your material. Maybe a pen will run out of ink after a while, but you don't have to keep dipping it like you do with a paintbrush. And the smaller the brush you're using, the more you'll have to reapply your paint. If you're using a larger brush that holds more paint, you obviously, you have a lot more to work with. Okay, that's really all I need for that cloud. Now zooming in a little on this upper cloud, we'll be able to show you a little better what I'm talking about. Just gonna create that fine detail. And when you use the liner more often, you'll see what I'm talking about with creating that thin pencil-like line. And the more you pull down on the brush, the wider your line's going to be. And the more towards the tip, you kind of just get a nice little section of it. This technique takes a lot of patience and a lot of time to really come to master. Learning to use the script brush and to be able to use it well really are two different things. And in learning to use the brush and learning the technique, you never want to go right onto a canvas or a completed work and just start working on making I wouldn't go right into this canvas. And if I had just got the brush, I would practice a little on a sheet of paper, get to know the brush a little bit. And it's the same thing with any kind of new paint or new product. You want to always do some practice work before you decide to do anything major with it, just to really get the feel for it, and without sounding too cliched, so the brush and you can become one. Really, a brush is a tool. It should be felt as an extension of your hand and not just something you're holding. The brush isn't doing the work, you are, so the brush should be doing the work that you want it to versus the work that it is sort of you're just letting it happen. Get a little more water and a little more paint, and as your acrylic paint decides to start drying on your palette, you have to be sure to add the water as you need to. A couple extra little structures and parts of the cloud. Grab a little more paint than that watery paint now and get sort of my middle sections taken care of. Don't want to make them too transparent, at least not in this particular piece. And there you have it. Now, the larger the canvas you're working on, you obviously want to have, a slightly larger brush. A canvas like this size, this is a 22 by 28, which is still, in terms of overall sizes and any size you could possibly make, it's still a relatively small size. If I was working on a huge wall or a mural, I might decide to go for just a simple round brush. In comparison, this brush is much, much thicker, but considering the amount of detail needed on such a large surface, you can get away with using a much larger brush. Now, you can always use your small brushes for those fine details, but the bigger and bigger the piece it is, the more unlikely that those small details will make any big of a difference. Really, at that point, it's up to the artist to decide exactly how much detail they want to put into a piece. So, I do hope this tutorial is able to help you, and for more tips, tutorials, and other art videos, please stay tuned to the DMC Films channel here on YouTube. This is Ben. See you guys next time.